Welcome to the video about finding function values when you're given a table or a graph. So again, I want to remind you all, hopefully you've learned this in class, that when we have our function notation, f of x or g of x or whatever the letter that is being used, that is simply a way to denote the output or the y value. So again, x is my input, and I'm looking for what is the corresponding output. Okay, these two things represent a relationship, a correspondence from x to y. So in this particular problem, we are given a table of values. You might find a table on your calculator, or you're given a table, and we want to know what for this particular function is the function value at 10. So I go to my table and I see the x value 10, and so there is a corresponding value and output, and that is 8. And that is it. That's all you have to do when you're given a table. The second value I put up here, I just wanted to make a little bit of a point, is that what is the function value at 20? And we look on this table, and I've got an x value of 5, and I've got an x value of 10, and a 15. So the domain is those three values. This function is only defined for three x values. There is no 20, okay? There's no other value. So since there is no output defined for 20, we call this undefined. That doesn't always happen, but I just wanted you to be aware and prepared. So I'm going to advance the screen. I would like you to do the same thing for the next set of function values. Okay, I hope you paused the video and took a moment to figure out what these function values are. So firstly, I have the function value at 2. So I look on the table of values and I notice, oh, there's the x value 2, the input, and so the output is 1 at that point. The same thing for the function value at 6. Okay, the function value at 6, I see that entry on the table right there. The output, the value that corresponds to that is 36. Last but not least, what is the function value at 12? And I just covered this on the previous page, that the domain of this ends at 9. And so since 12 is not in the domain, that we have an undefined value. So that is a quick review of how to find function values when you're given a table. So now we're going to be given a graph. And so what I want to do here is I want to figure out what the function values are when I have a graph. So first we're going to start with the function value at 2. Well, again, remember in my function notation, this is a function of x. X is the independent variable. And so I look at the x value 2. So the x value 2 is right here. I'm making a little red line. And what I do is I look at what is the output. What is the y value that corresponds to that? So I go up 1, and it looks like I go up 2. And so the function value at 2 is 2. Let's do the same thing for negative 1. So the function value at negative 1, I'm going to go back 1 right here, and notice at negative 1 I go up 1 hop, and there I am. I'm at the output 1. And similarly for the tables that we saw in the previous couple of examples, I wanted to just mention sometimes functions have limited domains. Notice the domain of this particular function, it looks like it is a square root function of some sort. The domain is greater than or equal to negative 2. So this function is not defined at negative 4. There's no blue line. There is no graph. And so that means that this is undefined at that value. So I'm going to advance the slide, push pause, and I'd like you to find the following function values. Welcome back. The first one I asked you to do is find the function value at negative 3. So here is the x value negative 3, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. So that means the output, the y value that corresponds with the x value of negative 3 is 4. The same thing for the function value at 3. So here is the value 3. This time I don't count up, I'm counting down, so I'm going in the negative y direction. So that is negative 2. One more time, last slide. I'd like you to do the same thing for this graph, please. All right, welcome back. Here we go. I've got my function value at 0. And so 0 is right here at the origin. And you notice you hop up 1, and that's the output. The last of our examples is what's the function value at the input 2. So here is 2, and I go down 1, 2, 3 units. So that means the function value at 2 is -3. Keep practicing reading graphs. That is a super important skill as you progress through college algebra and many other classes, and I wish you well.